NHL Nightly with your host, the sportsman, a.k.a. Peter Lebowski, a.k.a. Jeremiah Maxwell. And with him, as always, maybe Pearlo, Wisdom, and Rico in Barry.
Hey, what's up? Rico will be here in 5 minutes. Sorry, apologize. Got the dogs running off property. My wife can't manage them for 5 minutes while I'm doing the show here. Let's go. Let's get it together. Got some people on Instagram already. Thank you, Instagram. If you're just joining us, it's this is NHL Nightly. I know we're not nightly anymore. It's probably going to become the Sports Spirit Weekly Hockey Show, I think, in the off season, which we are full in the off season, even though the Stanley Cup's not over. So it feels weird, right? Like the fact that there's still games on, it's honestly kind of annoying. The weather is nice, and I really don't want to be watching hockey right now. As much as I love this sport, I'm ready to be outside on the water. How about you guys?
Yeah, it's a lot happening this time of year with the NHL. The championship is still going on. I mean, there's one of the furthest distances from,
Yeah, but have you ever felt like it's a secondary thing? I feel like I'm more into everything other than the cup because I don't have a dog in the fight. Like I get Pearlo, he's an Edmontonian. He's going to want to see Edmonton win. And if they pull the reverse sweep, that's going to be epic, right? Like it'll only have happened one other time in the finals. But I have a list of the stuff that our friend Occupancy was talking about just to talk about today that has nothing to do with the Stanley Cup Finals. So I'm just going to go over this list with you guys. But first, I'm going to let you talk about your thoughts on the games 5 and 6. The last time we were watching, I think they were about to go up 3-0 in the series, and they did. So yeah, Salty's like, I just want the draft. I feel like for us uber hockey nerds, like whoever wins the cup is tertiary now. Like not even secondary, it's tertiary. It's like it's the trades. The stuff that went down today is astronomical. I cannot remember this level of trades, this stuff before the draft, before the Stanley Cup has been awarded. Steve, Pearlo, what do you think? You're muted, Steve. I'm so sorry. I thought you knew you were muted. I thought you muted yourself on purpose.
First of all, as far as the playoffs are concerned, I'm a diehard just like you are, and you're right. I have a hard time keeping myself engaged at this time of year. Like they really got to do something here. It's not
too late. I posted a viral TikTok that got like 5,000 likes or whatever of me out on the dock going, NHL, you got to end the playoffs by the end of May. It needs to happen. Figure it the F out.
Yeah, get rid of preseason, or do like a round robin 4, 6 game. Like
don't need preseason at all whatsoever. Yeah. 3-week camp, go into playing games.
Yeah,
agreed. I am so done with watching games. It's the 20th of June tomorrow, man. I don't have I'm going fishing. I'm outside. I'm looking for stolen paddle boards. That's a story for you later on Uncle Jeremiah Tells a Story. But I don't want to watch hockey. I don't even care. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't watch Game 4 and I didn't watch Game 5. I just didn't watch it. I kept checking the score, but I was outside. I was doing stuff. I feel like I'm betraying but I just couldn't. I couldn't. It was 70 degrees here, which is like 90 anywhere else. I was like, we suffer these 3 feet of snow in the wintertime.
Yeah, right I know. You guys don't get a lot of summer, so it's understandable.
Yeah, dude, I got to take advantage. I never appreciated a warm, sunny day until I lived in Alaska. If I went back, because Montana, we have 4 seasons where I grew up. It's not as bad. We have long, cold winters, but it's not. Edmonton, Pearlo knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Montana still gets cold in May. I mean, let's
but it's
real.
Not. It's not, yeah, that's very true. But it also depends on where you live, and it's also one of those things. I mean, Rico, you probably get a little bit of it in Ontario too. Cabin fever, baby. You're muted, Rico.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to get hot here in the summer. Today was like almost 40 degrees. We had a heat wave this week, but we get all 4 seasons pretty hard. Like winter here is hard, and then we get the spring, fall, and the summer gets hot. And
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and
So
I get what you're saying.
But Rico, you are the beneficiary too, because the game for you comes on at 8 p.m. Eastern. So your day is pretty much over by the time the game starts anyway. So but for me, it's like 4.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to watch hockey at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right now, guys, it was supposed to be a crappy day here. It is 70.
Watch the ESPN or the Sportsnet's got like 10-minute, highlights. I'll watch those when I can't, catch a game. I'll check.
But I've never not watched a Stanley Cup final like this one. It's intriguing, and I know McDavid's going off, and we're going to talk about if they don't win, because I still think it's going to be hard for Edmonton to win. I do. They got to win 2. 4 out of 5.
Yeah. I haven't watched every Stanley Cup Finals. I feel like it's not super uncommon. Like this should end in May. The season should end in early April, and they should have before Memorial Day at least wrap this thing up, give everyone the long summer, and then pick up earlier. They should start in like early September around Labor Day. Yeah,
Stop
and then
worrying about football. Start the 3rd week of September. Hockey starts the 3rd week. It used to be, by the way, the NHL October 1. You were getting games. Now it's like the 10th. So like that's ridiculous. And I'm hey, that's Mike, how's it going? I gotta say, guy, I'm good with. If you want to do 3 preseason games, they need to be regional games too. Like Calgary plays Edmonton. Vancouver plays Seattle, like no travel involved at all. LA plays Anaheim.
Philly, New Jersey, Utah. New York, they just play each other. Pittsburgh, Washington. Carolina, Tampa, Florida. That's it. And then that's it.
And it's not like it used to be too. Guys back in the day used to come into training camp to get ready because they wouldn't do anything.
Because they drank beer and had fun in the summer like we want to do.
Exactly. So I mean, guys are coming in a little bit more.
Baseball's on in the summer. Baseball you can listen to on a radio and know exactly what's going on. And you can be out on your dock or your beach or your boat or, sorry, Rico. Watching by the way, those City Connect Blue Jays jerseys are sick.
Yeah, I've been listening to the Blue Jays in my earbuds for years. Like sometimes I watch the game, but I don't want to sit in front of a TV on a nice day or a nice evening in the summertime. So a lot of times I got the earbuds on, farting around the house and just getting stuff done and listening to the ball game instead of sitting there watching it.
Yeah, hey everybody, Mike Fiore, he's a Hot Take Hockey regular. He's a diehard Rangers fan. He's in, and he's going to throw us right into. I'm just going to go through this real quick, and we'll talk about what you guys want to talk about. So Mike says Chris Drury ain't fucking around. No shit, Mike. So Markstrom for Ball, that happened. Calgary to New Jersey. We will talk about it. PL Dubois for Darcy Kemper. I kept saying that Kemper contract's kind of bad, $5+ million. Dubois is like 8 something, but. Look, we'll talk about it because I will. Goudreau gets put on waivers. Mike's Goudreau played well in the playoffs for them, but I knew they're gonna have to re-sign Lafreniere. They got to redo Miller's deal. We'll talk about it, but they weren't sure. San Jose, our friend Teddy, occupancy represent the Bay Area for the time being. He's wearing the hat. San Jose claims Goudreau. I think brilliant, but we'll talk about it. Okay, I was going to talk about Conn Smythe losers. At first I was like hearing McDavid's name in the conversation. Now I'm like, give it to him. Like he probably deserves it if they lose Game 6. Just give it to him. Whatever. And honestly, if he doesn't win a Stanley Cup because they don't get back, I think I like Jason, the guy in Edmonton. I like. He's a very smart guy. He was on Kipper and Born today. And it's like, even if he doesn't win, if he wins, like he's kind of cemented himself as a Hall of Famer, which, I think we all would have said, barring catastrophic injury, I still think he goes to the Hall of Fame with his resume tomorrow. He could play no more hockey games and he'd be in the Hall of Fame. So good for him. But there were a bunch. We'll go over the guys who've won it. There's been 5, but there's actually been a few in our lifetime. So, and then the Hronek deal, Edmonton or Vancouver extends Hronek, and then I'm hearing from Frank Saravelli, they're in on big time on Jake Gensel, pushing hard. Makes sense, Rutherford, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so that, and I want to hear your guys' opinion on the Stanley Cup, because I just told you I didn't watch games 4 and 5 because I was like outside doing shit, and it was gorgeous. So who wants to talk about the Markstrom for Ball trade? I think this is a good deal for the Devils. They were willing to give up that pick anyway. They needed to add goaltending. It was the single most important thing. Their D is going to get shored up just by getting Dougie Hamilton back. Like, that's going to help them immensely. The fact that they lost him for the year. So what do you think, Rico? Markstrom for Ball, first rounder? I think it's a great deal for Calgary too. And they have Dustin Wolf. They're doing the right thing with their young goalie. You know?
Love the deal there, and good for Sheldon Keefe to have a steady goaltender in his net to begin his tenure in New Jersey. And basically, it comes down to
I saw that on Twitter. Now that he's in the real NHL, he's gonna have a real goalie.
yeah. I didn't see that on Twitter. I just thought of that now. I'm like, yeah, Keith's got a goaltender there. Let's see what he does. But I mean, at the end of the day, New Jersey's getting a $4.1 million Markstrom. That's basically what they're getting, and that's an absolute steal. That's a great deal for them. So give up a first, send Ball. I mean, Calgary's loading up on defensemen, whether they're drafting and stuff. Man, they're building from the back end.
They got to shut McDavid down, dude. They're going to have 8 defensemen drafted. They're going to do 6 forwards and 8 defensemen. 9 forwards. Sorry, 9 forwards.
No, that's funny, but I love that Mark.
They should try it. I'm saying try it. Somebody out there goes 8, 9 forwards, 8.
Can you imagine? You'll get like a half moon formation in the neutral zone of just defensemen, and then you get a couple forecheckers in there, and then one guy sort of in the middle on the blue line. David trap.
I think the way to play Edmonton is be aggressive. Make them play in their own offensive zone. That's what Florida was doing well early, and that's what they need to get back to. Yeah. But so did you get Rico, I didn't mean to cut you off, but did you get to say everything about Markstrom Ball in the first rounder on both sides?
Good deal. $4.1 million Markstrom in New Jersey. I'd take that all day. Give away the first, give away Ball. You got defense getting healthy, and you'll be good.
Yeah, so Pearlo, I want to hear your thoughts. Unmute yourself first. That would help. You're still muted, Pearlo.
Sorry. First of all, getting the 2025 pick was big. That's going to be a huge draft. And I would even take a late pick rather than the early pick in this draft for that draft. Ball has turned himself into a pretty darn good defenseman. I mean, he's never going to put up much offense. I thought they did all right here. I didn't even think they were going to get Ball back. And when you look at some of the players that they have on defense, like he's a big, huge defenseman that plays a good defensive game. It's top 4 guy. I thought they did really well, and I was looking on Twitter, and they were like, "Oh, they didn't get enough here." I'm not so sure about that. Ball is a very mobile defensive defenseman. He's never going to put up much offense, but as a young guy, he's already putting up really good defense, and he's improved every year. And I prefer the 2025 over the 2024, even if it's the 11th. It's just that draft is huge.
So, well, you know where their pick is going to be this year, and you don't know what it's going to be in 2025. So I will push back a little bit on that, where you probably have a very much solidified thing. But here's what I'll say: New Jersey doesn't need to add any more youth. Even with Ball leaving, they have a lot. They've got Hughes, they've got Nemec, they've got too much defensive prospect. So
well, I think Jersey did well too. I think both teams did well.
Yeah. Well, and you can keep Akira Schmid or Jake Allen and play Schmid in the AHL a little bit. He's just not ready, but I think he's going to be a good goalie. And then Jake Allen played well for them down the stretch. Occupancy, where are you at with this trade?
Yeah, I did my homework a little bit for this one. I was looking at, Markstrom's goals saved above average, and look, he was right around break even. I think he was a +2 for this year, which is pretty good. I mean, it doesn't hurt the team, doesn't really help the team that much either. I think this guy's getting a good deal. I think they're cleaning out contracts. I don't know exactly the details of the contract, but I think it's a good deal for both sides. I do. You had Wolf in net. He's kind of ready to be the starter. They were kind of having to manage that with Vladar, and then injuries happening and so forth. And Calgary's, they're making, as was said before. I mean, they're really actually adding some good pieces, and
if you got Dustin Wolf, and it makes zero sense to keep Markstrom with 2 years left on his
but
deal.
he was young, and they didn't want to rush him in, and we were seeing that in Buffalo with Levi and even Carolina today. I was thinking about it, like, why didn't Kochetkov get the nod early on? Like, he had a +7 goal save above expected there. So
I would have played Kochetkov over, and I bet Pearlo would agree with me. I would have played Kochetkov over Anderson. And Rico would agree too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Nobody's been tortured more by bad goaltending in the playoffs than Maple Leafs fans, and Freddie Anderson was one of those goalies that tortured them. He just would never make the save you need him to make. He was just good enough to get you a first-round exit, which is, not what Leaf fans want. So, yeah, dude, I agree with all your guys' points. I think this was an outstanding. What's great is when you can look back at a trade and go, that really worked out for both teams. And I hope that's the case here. I really want to see New Jersey be good. That's such a young and upcoming team. They were so good when I was growing up, especially when I first got up here. We had Scotty Gomez playing for him. So, I love the Devils. I love when they're good. Plus, all us Chicklets fans, we got to see Pasha running his gym. That stuff is the most entertaining thing the Chicklets guys have been doing was the Pasha stuff. Like he got into with Jacob Trouba. So, yeah, I'm really excited. Okay, the elephant in the room. The Pierre-Luc Dubois for Darcy Kemper trade. Straight up. Getting a little music from somebody, so mute yourself on your end if you can when you're not talking. No worries. Just mute yourself when you're not talking. Yeah, here's what I'll say. I being the resident Capitals fan, I mean, the more we do this show, the less I care about anything. I just want to do a good job for the fans that tune in and watch our show and just be objective. I am such a believer in Spencer Carberry. If anybody could turn Pierre-Luc Dubois' career around, it is him. This is a win for the Capitals and the Kings. I think this is a win-win. Kemper was not playing well for the Caps. He was on a pretty ridiculous deal. I think it's not that much of a difference between Pierre Dubois. It's just we're going to pay Pierre Dubois. Pierre Dubois is not 26 yet. He's still 25. Turns 26 in a few days. So this is a young player that was drafted very high. I think he has the potential to be a very good two-way center. The Capitals are going to be without Backstrom and Oshie, I think, indefinitely. They will not come back. That's the only way they could make this deal work because they have zero cap space. So, and I think McClellan was looking around at the free agents and saying, we're probably going to be out on Lindholm. He's not going to be a guy that's going to come here. I think that was a guy they targeted. I would have wanted him. I think Vancouver's trying to get something done there. I don't know. I don't know how Vancouver's going to do it because we're going to talk about a deal they already did. And they're trying to sign Gensel too. But anyway, I think the way Charlie Lindgren was playing, they've got some younger goalie prospects in the AHL. The Caps AHL teams in the championship. They're down 2-1 to Coachella Valley. Same matchup as last year. Kind of root for Coachella. Honestly, even as a Caps fan, it would be cool to see Coachella Valley, Seattle's team win. Every time these young teams win, except for the Maple Leafs, the Marlies won. They won the Calder. They didn't translate. But the Caps did it with the Bears. Those guys all went on to win cups. Pittsburgh did it with their Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. They won a Calder. A lot of times success breeds more success. So if you see a team's AHL team doing really well, i.e. the Seattle Krakens and Coachella Valley, I'm excited because, Shane Wright, all these guys are getting long playoff experience. And Scott Gomez said when he played in the ECHL in the lockout year that the difference between the ECHL and the NHL is very, very minute. And said, he goes, and we played on Olympic ice up here. He goes, the space wasn't there, man. And it's like, he goes, he made him feel appreciative that he had a Patrick Eliash on his wing. The high-end talent is a lot more high-end, but he said when it comes down to the bottom, he goes, there's not a lot of separation there. And I always respected him for saying that because, he won the Calder and the Stanley Cup in his rookie year. He was no slouch, man. I mean, if he'd have put up that career for 15 years, he'd be in the Hall of Fame. So he didn't. By the way, that's news too. He's taken over the junior A team in Mike made it. What's up, guys? So we're just talking Gomez, but we're talking about the Pierre-Luc Dubois for Kemper trade. I was just giving my spiel, and then I was going to toss it over to Rico and Pearlo and everybody. I like the trade for both teams. It solves a problem for LA. They get a little bit more depth of goaltending. They get rid of that albatross of a contract. And for the Capitals, it means nothing because Ovi's got a year left and it's over. I think he has 2 years left on his deal, but he could easily break. I think now that he's got his stick issues, I think he could break the record this next year. If he has like 42 goals, I think he could easily do it. And with a guy with Dubois is going to give Ovechkin a little bit of a space. It's helpful. So, yeah, I mean, Salty's right. Dubois was playing on the fourth line in that talent-rich. The Capitals have Dylan Strome and Hendrix LaPierre and we lost Mike.
Connor McMichael was getting center in the playoffs.
Connor McMichael. Well, Connor McMichael is ready. I mean, he was on that team last year that won the Calder Cup, but he played a lot of NHL this year. He was very good. So I'm not. You get a phone call, Mike?
An audio issue.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's just the best way. So yeah, and I agree. Salty Dubois didn't fit their system, and I have a lot of respect for Carberry. So Rico, what do you think of this deal?
Well, there was rumors around LA buying him out, right? So that
would have been not a bad thing. That wouldn't have been a bad thing. Frank Saravelli said it would have counted like $1.5 million against the cap. With the cap going up, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal.
Yeah. So I mean, it's either buy him out or do what they did because I think he had a no trade clause that was kicking in July 1st. So they had to get something done before that. And I mean, the way this trade broke down now, it's like LA basically, this trade got boiled down to LA trade Iafallo, Gabe Vilardi, I think that Rasmus Kapari guy in a second round pick for Darcy Kemper. So that's how this boils down. Ouch.
You got to remember what they traded for sure. Yeah.
For sure. So, I mean, I think Washington definitely won the trade here. I mean, there's going to be nowhere for Dubois to hide in Washington. They're going to play him top line minutes. They can hide him a little bit in LA because
he's first or second line. He's first or second line right
down
now.
The middle there.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Capitals would grade out much worse if they gave up more for acquiring Dubois. But I mean, shedding Kemper's contract and handing the reins to Liljegren's a positive. They're going to do that anyway. So, I mean, getting rid of Kemper, you're basically starting Lindgren.
Lindgren was the starter in the playoffs and for the bulk of the year. And he's only 29.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Washington took the bigger risk in this trade, but there's more potential for upside if Dubois could get his game back together. So, hopefully he figures it out there.
Yeah, and Salty points out LA has to play Quentin Byfield, too. That's why they needed to make this deal. Because you're not trading Byfield. Avi says Oilers in 7. Let's effing go. Okay. All right, Pearlo, what are your thoughts on the Dubois for Kemper? I know Dubois is all first team, all Pearlo. He's one of your favorite players of all time. I say that in the most sarcastic, not serious manner I can say it. Go ahead, Pearlo.
It's the opposite of the all-star team.
He's all Pearlo.
Well, I mean, just look at the narrative. You sign a guy to $8 million and he doesn't even last 1 year. 2 coaches tell them they want to get rid of him right away. So Carberry's going to earn his money here because Dubois is a freaking basket case. So I hope that if anybody can do it, it's Carberry. I've been selling Carberry all year. I think he's a fantastic coach. If he can do it, if there's anyone to do it, it's going to be him. And Kemper really had a brutal year in in Washington. So it's going to be an one good thing about it, Washington's landlocked. So you're not going surfing anytime soon. So they get to keep him off of that. Hopefully he wakes up and realizes that he's an idiot. That's really the way I would say it. You wake up. The guy gave you $8 million a year to go to LA, and that's where you wanted to go the whole time, and you couldn't even last a year. So, and they traded your ass for a goaltender that was good but hasn't been good, and now you're going to Washington, and there ain't no surfing there, my friend. So, I don't know. Does he wake up? If he does, the guy's got all the talent in the world.
Yeah,
he's got all the talent.
Virginia
in the world.
Beach.
Well,
yeah, there is Virginia Beach.
There's Virginia Beach. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what he wasn't making this whole escape.
That's like
from
not right next to DC either. So yeah, I got you.
He wanted to go to LA the whole time. And
well, I heard, before that LA deal went down, honestly, I thought he was going Montreal. All the rumors I was hearing was Montreal.
He used that to get some more money. He used that to get more money. He was going to LA the whole day. Let's get
our friend Mike, and then we'll finish up with occupancy. Mike, what do you think of this trade?
I didn't get a good look at it. What was it? Because I'm just kind of catching up here.
So Pierre-Luc Dubois straight up no money retained for Darcy Kemper, straight up no money retained. That was the trade. Capitals give Kemper to the Kings, and I think it solves a need for both teams. And like I said, if Carberry can't fix him, he's probably done in the NHL anyway. And he could be a guy that I could see get his contract terminated, and the Caps don't even have to worry about buying him out. So
I think Kemper's the better player. I don't know if Luc Dubois is enough, but
yeah, I mean Kemper was not enough to make an impact.
Trade wise, I think it's a good trade, but I think Kemper's the better player. But
yeah, no, I got you. Okay, Teddy, go ahead and give us your thoughts. I'm sure you studied this one.
No, I pulled up a couple numbers, but no, I mean I think you guys were kind of saying it right, and I mean I think no money retained, like it's just a straight up trade. LA addresses an issue, and I don't know if Pearlo or someone knows, but when Talbot was on Minnesota, he was actually he had a couple good springs, and they were running. I think they were making it to like the second round, Minnesota or something in the playoffs, or the first round. They kept getting bumped by St. Louis, I know. But anyway, I'm just saying, if you address that tandem issue and you go for a 1-2 punch, Kemper could be a good slot A, B guy. I do think so. His goal saved above expected wasn't great last year. Towards the bottom of the league, it was a minus 12 and 33
I
games.
thought LA, real quick occupancy, not to cut you off, I thought LA's goaltending was absolutely not their issue this year. They had other problems, locker rooms, which could have include Pierre-Luc Dubois, by the way, and more than likely does. So there is some strain on this trade as a guy who's a Cap supporter. It's like,
sure. Yeah. No, I mean, and Pierre, like Dubois, I mean, he played a full 82 games. I was looking, he ended a -9, so he obviously is not helping the team. But yeah, I think it's might move the needle a little bit for each team, but maybe just some utility pieces getting filled. And I mean, look for at least I was looking at the Washington roster, and I've been saying this all along. Like, you need a setup guy and a speed guy to play with Ovi. You need a setup guy and a speed guy. If PLD is going to work hard in the corners, get the puck in front of the net, be a passer. I don't know how many assists he was having in Winnipeg, but if he can kind of do that, he could be a good setup person. But then you need, McMichael or someone out there who's one of the faster skaters. And that's how I think you're going to save that, at least some production. So either way, it is an interesting deal. So this was a good trade topic here that's happening.
Yeah, I mean the Capitals are devoid of talent outside of Ovechkin right now. It was apparent in the playoffs with the Rangers matchup. They sort of were in some of the games, but really by the end, it was like by game 4 they had nothing. Rico, where are you at with this?
Yeah, I mean, Carberry did a lot with that Washington team and where he brought them and how well they played defensively all year. I mean, that team on paper, I mean, he had his hands full there. So take away Kemper, add in somebody like Dubois, which, hopefully there's still an upside. Hopefully it's not a Yakupov or, like, not to name names or anything, but there's been some high pick draft busts in, this last 10, 20 years. So, I mean, it could very well be that this guy's never going to figure it out. But, I mean, if there's somebody that can help him, I mean, there's some veterans, there's some young guys he can mentor on that team. He'll get a little bit more of a prominent role on that team. He won't need to take a step aside. He'll have all the opportunity in the world there. And Carber's a good coach. So I think he'll be fine, man. And I don't know what the goaltending situation is with Copley there in LA too. So I don't think Kemper will be asked to take the number 1 role as well there. But like I said, they had to get it done before July 1st. Yeah.
They got Talbot and Copley.
Yeah. So like I said earlier, they had to get something done before July 1st because that's when PLD's no trade clause kicked in July 1st. So it's either buy him or trade him. So
if he wants out of Washington, like he'll waive it. I just feel like that was to protect the player in LA, and now that doesn't matter because he's not going to be in LA. So
yeah, no, I think it works out. I think it works out for both teams. And like I said, Conroy in Calgary didn't have much leverage at Markstrom as well too, and he pulled something off. So I mean, I think Rod Blake did the best that he could. It's a 1-for-1.
He got out of that contract with PLD that he was going to wear, and I think they knew it was a mistake right away. Go ahead. Sorry.
It addressed a need for both teams. It's going to work out for both teams, and it'll be all right.
So our friend Singsy, just to back the track, our friend Singsy loves the deal for the Devils. He's a Devils fan. You guys know Singsy's been on the show. Markstrom, he likes the deal. He didn't think it was an overpay. So that's good to hear from I think Singsy's a pretty sound fan, He's not prone to hyperbole. So I'm a big fan of that. Okay, so I kind of saved this man for the last. Oh, no, Pearlo already talked about it, didn't he? He talked about the PLD. Did he? Okay, well, Pearlo, if you didn't, I think he did. Did you talk?
I did.
Okay, yeah. Go back to eating, man. Go back to eating because I'll put you last on this one too, so you can go back to eating. We had Mike Fiore in the chat. Don't know if Mike's still here. The Drury making waves. I wasn't shocked to see Gaudreau get waived. And I wasn't surprised to see the San Jose Sharks pick him up. I actually want to start with Teddy occupancy first because he's there. What did you think of that move from Mike Greer? I mean, I just feel like they need to add veteran leadership to the Sharks. I loved it for the Sharks because the money is nothing for them. It's not going to be a factor. They're not going to be close to the cap top for a while, I think, with all the young guys they're playing. What'd you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I listened to interview, and there's a new coaching hire as well, and I think a lot of people are excited about developments there. But one thing with adding the leadership, I mean, you need it because these kids are going to get pushed around, and they're going to put up 6 spots on them if they don't have, people skating hard and training. So, I mean,
Mike says apparently, and this is Gaudreau he's talking about, the Sharks were on his no trade, so he's pissed. So that was maybe the no trade kicking in was part of this too. Did you guys hear any of that information?
I didn't hear about that, but yeah, I mean, this is management. They're making decisions, and I ultimately think. Is this guy going to move the needle? No, he played there. I mean, is he going to really make him a championship team? Probably not. He's probably not going to move it that. I mean, he scored some big goals in the playoffs. I mean, this year he had an overtime winner, but I mean, I don't think he's, taking them to the promised land, but, a couple additions, maybe instead of losing, losing 50 games, maybe they'll lose, 40, 45 or something. But no, it'll be interesting too, the developments. And yeah, I don't know who's next, but that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, so Mike says just came out. Apparently he's pissed with the Rangers, and Drury handled it. Wanted to trade him, but couldn't, so he just waived him. I actually thought it was a great move by Drury because it gets his name out there, and if somebody wants to trade for him, they'll call, because as the waiver claims go, teams, if they pass or whatever. But again, I like the move for the Sharks, man. And honestly, the Rangers had to get rid of salary somewhere, and where are you going to cut it? You ain't cut Shesterkin. You're keeping Keandre Miller. I mean, it just made sense. Our degenerate Bostonian. By the way, congrats to the Celtics 18th championship. Yada, yada, yada.
Preseason plus 750.
Nice. Wow, you got a preseason plus 750. That's pretty nice odds. I actually thought, weren't they the favorite to win, or was somebody else at the beginning? I guess Denver would have been the favorite. Sorry, I forgot.
Preseason, It was Milwaukee, Denver, Boston.
Yeah,
if I remember correctly.
Well, I forgot the Brewers. The Brewers. Sorry, the Milwaukee Bucks added Dame Lillard. I forgot that. I watched no NBA this year, so
I think 6 games total.
Yeah, that's 6 more than I watched, Mike. So, just telling you. So, what do you think here? What do you think of this Gaudreau pickup for the Sharks and waived by the Rangers? You can talk more about the Rangers side if you're more intrigued, because that's the team we all kind of care about anyway, right?
Derek's a good player. I agree with Derek.
I mean, but the Sharks are going to be, not to disparage. Sorry, Mike, didn't mean to cut you. What I'm saying, because Rico laughed, I'm like, no one is going to give a shit about the Sharks until they have their full complement of Celebrini. Talk on that. Is he coming back to BU?
Actually, from what I'm hearing, I've already drawn a blank in the guy's name. They're going to be roommates. That BU, they've already said
Cole Eiserman. Eiserman. I heard that too.
They've already guaranteed if Celebrini stays, that's his roommate next year. They're going to get a double, and they're putting him in the dorm right next to the hockey rink and the training facility, so they don't have to walk anywhere to go to practice. So they're doing everything they can to keep Brini in. I do actually have a bet on Celebrini staying. But in terms of the Sharks, honestly, I think in 2 years with who they've got coming, I bet they go over 500. Not in the 26-27 season. I bet they hit 45 wins.
Are you talking the Sharks?
San Jose Sharks. Not next year would be what 20.
Right.
24, but the year after
2025.
So
2025, 2026 season. Oh my God.
That season, I think they're going to flirt with 100 points. I think they're going to get 45 wins.
Not this coming season, but the season
No, this coming season. Sorry, occupancy.
They're going to be up for Gavin McKenna and all the guys coming again. I think.
No, they're going to be definitely a rebuild team. It's going to be a slow rebuild for them. Slow.
I think they're 2 or 3 more years away from doing anything.
They're not. Let's just say they're not close. There's many teams closer.
Yeah. Chicago will be a playoff team before San Jose, in my opinion. Rico, did you talk to Gaudreau?
No, I haven't, but I mean, Mike was right. I think Gaudreau had a 15-team no trade list, and most of those teams on the no trade list were less than desirable places, including San Jose, because he wanted to be in the playoffs. He wanted to go to a contender to win the cup. So when he signed his contract in 2021, he didn't have a no trade. So I mean, this was acceptable to happening. I mean, I read that 13 years earlier, Tampa Bay did the same thing to Dan Boyle, saying if you don't accept the trade to, I think, San Jose, you're going to get claimed by the Atlanta Thrashers, and they kind of screwed him over like that too. So, I mean,
but that's how the teams get themselves out of these horrible no trade clauses, Rico. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but because of the salary cap, I'm going to let you finish. I apologize. Sometimes you just have to trade. you're in a rock and a hard place. Go ahead, Rico. Again, apologies.
No, and it all comes down to you can't pay a fourth liner for the Rangers almost $4 million a season when he's not even a primary penalty killer on a team. I know he scored 6 goals in 16 games, whatever, in the playoffs, but it's not going to work. They got other business to do, tidy up business, ship him out. Too bad he's in San Jose and you want to be on a playoff team that contend for a cup because he's over 30. And I mean, it is what it is, man. He's still making the money that the Rangers signed him for, so I don't feel bad for him for signing that contract.
He's
probably happy he did too.
He's got 3 years left at $3,641,667. That's the exact amount of money for the next 3 years for them. That's not that bad a deal. He can easily get moved at a trade deadline when teams really need a player like that. Maybe not this year, but next year. And that's not going to be that much with the cap going up, especially in 2025, 2026, with a year left on his deal. So Greer can turn that around and add assets where Drury didn't have the luxury to take the time to make that trade. That's what I love about it from the Drury thing. Like, I understand Gaudreau's upset or whatever, but good move on Drury. You got the healthier organization to worry about, and you got to keep these guys. I will say this. We didn't name it in the list of topics, but since we're talking about Gaudreau, the Rangers re-signing Capo Caco was sort of I knew they were going to qualify him, but like to give him a $2.4 million deal, I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I was a little surprised on that one. But just because, not because $2.4 million is a massive overpay for Capo Caco, but anyway, Rico, did you feel like you finished your point on? Okay, Mr.
Yeah, buddy, I'm
Pearlo.
good. No, San Jose's done well on that deal. When you break it down like that, you could kind of move Gaudreau, and he's got those 15 teams he doesn't want to go to, and the other ones are all cup contenders. So obviously, you want to move him to one of those teams. And
they already got an A on Cap Friendly, by the way, next to Gaudreau's name. So do you think he's going to be an assistant captain because he was one with the Rangers? Anyway, Pearlo, what do you think of the Gaudreau?
Well, Gaudreau was going to get bought out anyway, so he obviously decided.
Not by San Jose, Pearlo. Not by San Jose. They can't buy anybody out. They have no room. He went on waivers for the purpose of the Rangers buying him out. Right, but the Sharks
and he had a no trade clause. He probably didn't have San Jose on his NT, but he saw an opportunity where he's going to get max minutes and probably be able to put up some decent numbers and get traded to somebody at the deadline somewhere around there. So he decided he was going to go there. But let's face it. I mean, he didn't really. It wasn't ideal for him, but I see why.
I don't think the player has any say in the waiver claim. I don't think he could say he's not reporting.
Absolutely.
And they could say,
he had a new movement clause. So
he had a no trade. So if he had a no movement, he couldn't be sent down without his permission.
No trade equals a no movement too.
Because the no movement allows you not to be moved from the NHL to the AHL, therefore be put on waivers. Thus, no movement. A no movement clause is not a no trade, but it's more. It's basically more. I think most no movements include the no trade. Like you see a guy with a no movement, he has a no trade as well, or a limited team no trade. So I'll just say this: Gaudreau had nothing. If he gets sent down to the minors, I don't believe he even makes that salary. So if nobody claims him, he doesn't get. I think he gets a percentage.
No, he gets the same salary. He's got a one-way contract. He's got a one-way contract.
I'm going to ask Frank that question tomorrow in his show and just say,
if you got a one-way contract, you get paid same.
Okay. Well, he definitely did have a two-way.
Doesn't matter.
If you pass the waivers,
as far as San Jose,
I believe also Pearlo. Hold on, just real quick. I believe that even though he gets, let's just say no one claimed him for the sake of this argument, he goes down to the Rangers team, which I think is in Hartford. They used to be the Hartford Rangers, I think. Mike, I don't know. You're there in that area. I can't remember. Anyway, whoever their farm team is,
then they would get a little bit of reprieve.
No, but I think the cap, a percentage of that still on the cap. His salary is still on the NHL cap, even though they sent him down.
I think they would have saved. I think they would have saved like a 900,000 or something if he ended up going down to the minors. But I think the purpose was that they were going to buy him out. That was the whole purpose. And then San Jose picked him up. So you may be right about that.
He has to spend some stuff. He goes, rumor Philly and Ottawa are cooking up something. I saw a little bit of that. I think something's going on with the goaltending. I don't know.
We're gonna get into this a little later, but watch out for Laine going to Washington as well, buddy.
Wow.
Good God, can you pile more problems on one freaking team? Yeah, I doubt that. But I say I doubt it, but
watch out.
I just don't know if they have the room on adding Dubois too. I know you're not going to have Oshie and Backstrom's contracts, but that's not Dubois and Laine together.
The Jackets are going to be retaining half of that contract wherever he goes.
Well, Columbus could retain half of it. Yeah, they're going to have to.
Johnny Gaudreau's on his 10th coach. That was also some news.
That's unbelievable to me. 10 coaches
in
10
years. 10
years. He's been in 10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
Can we even name them all? I could probably name like 3 or 4.
Well, that shows you Calgary went through a lot of coaches too, man. But that was not on. Don't put that on Johnny Gaudreau. Bill Peters is not on Johnny Gaudreau. Like,
no,
that's
of course.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, when somebody said that, I was like, that's kind of not fair.
I think it's 8 coaches in 10. I don't think it's 10 and 10. But
I heard 10 on the radio, but I think you got to have interim.
Sutter was there for at least 2 years. Sutter was there for 2 years.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Ward was one of them. And where's Ward now? Nobody's even talking about him. Like
Bobby's pissed he didn't go to the Bruins. I don't think you need an undersized winger. You basically be the Rangers with Panarin, although Panarin had a pretty good year.
No, so Gaudreau also said he struggled with pressure at BC. A lot of pressure to perform at BC. Part of the reason he went to CBJs, he didn't. At least it was what I heard. He didn't like the pressure, and
that's fair.
Avi will tell you straight up. If you suck in Boston, we'll let you know. We'll let you know quick.
Oh yeah.
Well, the pressure, not having pressure, did really well for him, didn't he? Got like 56 points this year. So don't like the pressure. Okay.
Well, Columbus was notoriously bad. And by the way, we didn't even put that on the list. Let's just go right into that, since I feel like we've talked the Gaudreau thing and we're in the middle, and then I want to talk this Conn Smythe thing. Columbus is going to have a new head coach. And the San Jose Sharks hired Ryan Warsofsky. None of that had happened since the last time we've been on. Go ahead, Occupancy. Why don't you talk about the Warsofsky, and then we'll get right into the
Wait,
I'm sorry.
You want me to hit the Warsofsky? What?
Yeah, just talk about the Warsofsky hiring. You being there in the Bay Area and what your thoughts are. Underwhelming, overwhelming. You don't like it?
I think it's a good fit. I think it's he's been around and he knows the guys, and there's a lot of development to be done. So maybe he knows how to look. They're bringing in some people. I mean. Yeah. No, he seems like he knows what he's gonna get a look. I think Quinn.
Honestly, really, Occupancy. Before you go down the road, I kind of was surprised by the Quinn firing. I mean, Greer being a BU guy, Quinn being a BU guy, like, the players must have not liked him at all. That's the only thing I can think of. Mike, you're there. You're in the heart of that. You got anything on that Quinn thing? And then Occupancy, I'll let you get back to finish the point.
I don't know too much on the Quinn thing. I know at BU, Quinn was liked, not loved. He did very well. I'm not knocking it. Nat, he didn't have a natty, a couple of Frozen Fours. God knows how many draft picks.
Well, but Mike, was he liked, not loved by the fans because he didn't ultimately have the success that BU fucking demands of their hockey team, or that it was behind the scenes stuff?
Both. Like players like Jay. Oh my God. Somebody shoot me. I'm drawing a blank. The guy that was there for 20 years that was alongside oh my.
Just talk your David Quinn stuff and I'll look it up.
Yeah, so basically Quinn wasn't people liked him because he had success, but you weren't bringing in the big guns that BU did for years and years and years. And they weren't bringing in the Celebrinis. They weren't getting the transfers like Capone. Quinn just didn't draw that in. And then even in the back office, I don't know what his deal was. I know the only thing he did well was he stole BC's top scout. And that led to, the fall of BC for like 5 seasons. As we've all seen, BC's definitely turned it around. But Quinn wasn't BU's favorite. So I don't know if he has the same as Greer. Because people liked Greer.
Right, but Greer was a player there, not a coach, right? So Leon Abbott, Harry Clever, Bob Crocker, Chippy Jaw, Jack Kelly, Blaze McDonald, Albie O'Connell, Jay Pandolfo, Jack Parker.
There it is, Jack Parker. That's the one.
There you go. I knew one of David Quinn, Ben Smith, Waylon Vaughn. Okay. Anyway, I knew one of those names would click with you, and I just, it's a shame because of the Red Berenson got a lot of play. WCHA, I knew who he was, Michigan coach, blah blah blah. Michigan's a big school, but the hockey coaches, some of them, Herb Brooks, obviously everybody knows Herb, University of Minnesota and stuff. U.S. legend, greatest American coach ever. You can't convince me otherwise. Miracle on Ice, baby. So occupancy. Just go ahead and finish your thoughts on Warsofsky getting the job. Appreciate Mike filling in us in on the Quinn. Albie agrees with us. He doesn't think they should have fired him anyway, but it sounds like there was some behind-the-scenes player stuff, Albie. That's what I've kind of heard through my sources. So, but go ahead, occupancy finish, and then we'll talk about the Columbus Blue Jacket. So who do we think stayed higher? I heard Gerard Glott back in Columbus. That could be a thing. Anyway, go ahead.
I pretty much said my bit.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't much to say about Warsofsky because he's a first-time NHL head coach, right? But he's a fast riser, man. Like, I was looking at his thing, and I'm really interested. Okay. I want to hear from Pearlo and Rico. Who do you like, not named Mike Babcock, Pearlo, to coach the Columbus Blue Jackets? The new head coach, because they let Pascal Vincent go. No one was shocked once Don Waddell took that job. Rico, why don't you kick it off, and then we'll kick it down we'll go over to Pearlo, and then we'll kick it down, and then we'll talk about the Stanley Cup playoffs because I want to get you guys thing. And Derek S. says he wants Torts. I'm sure Columbus would love to have Torts back, honestly.
I like Torts. I'll say it. I like him.
He's a great this is a John Tortorella's pro show. Pearlo loves him. I love him. His son was an Army Ranger. I was in the Army for 25 years. The guy, everybody that's played for him freaking loves him. Now, I know Dubinsky came out and kind of spoke out against him. God give some love to my Alaska guy. But, guys like Ryan Callahan, guys who I would have loved to play with, have said nothing but awesome things about Torts. And Pearlo freaking loves him. And we all know that Philadelphia Flyers team is a top 5 drafting team. Torts is not playing there, especially with what went down with Carter Hart and stuff. But anyway,
if something ever goes on with Torts, and if Torts decides either to move to the side or move up into the office and get out of coaching, you know who the next coach is going to be in Philadelphia? The guy that just signed 2 years for the Philadelphia Phantoms today, Ian LaPerriere. So he just signed with their AHL affiliate.
Yeah,
so he'll
I
be the
thought
next
he would be a head coach there. I'm actually kind of surprised, as long as he's been an assistant, that he hasn't gotten a look. Probably because he doesn't want to leave that Philly area. So, and Lehigh Valley's in PA. So. Yeah,
no, I mean, I haven't really put much thought to who the next coach is going to be in Columbus. So I'll just pick a name out of a hat, Jay Woodcroft.
I don't hate it. Pearlo, go ahead.
That's pretty much what I was thinking too. I don't think Gallant's going to be the guy there. I think, yeah,
the coach there before. That was why I was laughing, because we talk about retreads, and I heard his name. I heard his name in the rumor mill. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think Woodcroft or somebody like that is probably the guy they're going to go with as well.
Since you're in Edmonton, Pearlo, I've gotten the sense that Edmonton Oiler fans feel guilty that they fired Jay Woodcroft and want to see him get a job. Is that an accurate assessment?
I don't know if I'd say they feel guilty. I mean, Knobloch has done a hell of a job there. So.
No, I mean, yeah, I get that.
But I don't know. But then again, they said I think they're looking for a more experienced guy. Okay, I'll just go off the board and say Boudreaux.
I don't think he comes back. I think he's enjoying TV, and I think he's
I'll just go off
age.
the board. I'll just go off the board. I don't think Galanta's a guy, and off the top of my head, I'm probably missing.
You can agree with Rico, by the way. Woodcroft is more than an acceptable answer, man. It's fine. You don't have to have a hot take on everything.
I just think they're looking more experienced than a guy like Woodcroft. So,
well, I mean, he coached Edmonton for like 2.5 years, didn't he? He took over for. I mean,
no, he didn't. He didn't make it past 1.5 seasons. I don't think.
I thought he was there like 2.5 years. He coached last year. I thought he took over.
What about Jeff Blashill? Or isn't that the guy that was in Seattle that got canned?
I heard his name too.
Detroit,
he's an assistant
Detroit.
Coach.
He was in Detroit,
but he's an assistant coach with Tampa Bay now. Yeah, I heard.
Who's the guy that got canned in Seattle? What was his name?
Yeah. I think he's done for a while.
He's had 2 jobs now as a head coach.
Hextall.
Dave Hextall. I think he's going to have a real tough time being a head coach in the NHL. I think he could be a head coach back in wasn't he a college guy? Wasn't he in North Dakota or something?
I think so, yeah.
So I could see him going back to college.
He was considered a genius in college. That's the reason why.
I don't think he won a championship, though, did he?
I don't know.
I can see the sports beard coaching in Columbus. Imagine the sports beard coaching in Columbus. They go right off the board.
Yeah.
Man, they're not hiring me, bro. I would take the job if they want. If you want to give me the job.
Maybe they got an insight on Joel Quenneville.
I'll tell you right now, I would hire all former players to be my assistants and do what Homeboy is doing in Edmonton because it's working.
You just be the motivator coach, not the X's and O guy. You just kick the asses and fucking punishment when needed and motivation when needed. And you just get 2 X's and O's guys beside you on a bench and let it roll.
Be Bobby Knight. I don't think I could be real aggressive as a coach. I think I would be like a disciplinarian as far as if somebody like effed up, like we caught him in the room with like 6 hookers and a bunch of blow. I'd probably suspend the guy, you know.
How many seconds? Sorry, I forgot. McClellan. I could see.
I don't think he gets another job either, man. I think the stink on these guys that worked for Babcock. I think that's going to ward some teams off. I think McClellan's already had 3 head coaching opportunities: San Jose, Edmonton, and now the Kings. And I think there's a push now for people to say, "Hey, no, got young coaches. Look at that guy in Phoenix now in Utah." They would have been stupid to get rid of Tournier, and they kept Armstrong and Tournier. They bought the personnel. Ryan Smith could have said, "No, I want my own GM. I want my own." But listen, those guys are quality people, even though they weren't in an unquality organization. Reminds me of the show Clip that's on right now, where it's about the Clippers and the Donald Sterling thing. I recommend it to you guys because I feel like it's the Clippers version of terrible running, and the NHL was the Arizona Coyotes, man. Okay.
The game's changed. The people have changed. Like the behavior of these players have changed than when the old guard is coaching. And for the older guard of coaches, you just got to adapt to way the game and the players and stuff on and off the ice are adapting as well. So
yeah, I agree 100%.
Time to rinse them.
I agree 100%. Okay. There has been 5 Conn Smythe winners that were on losing teams. They are Roger Crozier, who was a goaltender for the Red Wings 1966. Glenn Hall, 1968, St. Louis, lost. He was Reggie Lee, 76 Flyers. No, Dominic Hasek didn't win. Ron Hextall, 1987 Flyers. And J.S. Gare Ducks, 2003. Those are the 5 guys in our lifetime. I mean, I don't think Pearlo, you were born in 66, but you're probably a wee lad or something. You might remember Glenn Hall, but you definitely remember Reggie Leach. I was not born yet. Me and Rico were not on this planet, but Ron Hextall, I was like 10. And then I remember Jiggy big time. Like everybody was like, give it to him. Because he like, dude, had like a 999 save percentage. You know, like I think he allowed 1 goal in an entire series. That's how good this guy was. In the modern era, just unbelievable. I know it's still a little bit trap hockey and stuff, but still, guys, if you we talked about the trades earlier, so if you want to rewind, go. Oh, you did. Thank you, Jared. Awesome. Yeah, I knew you'd like it. That's why I said go back, watch it, get back with us live, because we've already kind of gone through that. That was the first trade we talked about. Because I honestly think that one will be the most impactful. And it'll be interesting. I love that the Flames are rebuilding. It's good. They need to commit to the rebuild. So I'm going to just say this right now on the record. I don't care. Just give it to McDavid. If they don't win, if the Panthers win Game 6 or Game 7, give it to McDavid. It's fine. McDavid has been so much better than everybody right now, far and away. And if they lose, it won't be because of him. So he's been the best player in the playoffs. Give it to McDavid. I don't have an issue with it. Pearlo, you're there in Edmonton. Why don't you kick it off, and then when you're done, mute yourself, toss it over to Rico.
Before the last 2 games, I would have said Barkov, but I mean McDavid just took things to a whole nother level last 2 games.
Funny how Barkov hasn't looked the same since the Draisaitl hit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I got to go with you on that. Win or lose, I mean, you got a guy that just upped his level up to 8 points in 2 games, and it's kind of hard not to take anyone else but McDavid, win or lose in this series right now. So, and I wouldn't have said that 2 games ago. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Go ahead and mute yourself, Rico. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, just like Marchand said, we're playing to injure each other out there. So, you know, when Sam Bennett popped Marchand, all of a sudden he was never the same, you know, and then Draisaitl pops Barkov and he's not the same. And Draisaitl's got this thing on his thumb where he can't even raise the puck off the ground on a one-timer. He's got this thumb finger brace underneath his gloves. So, I mean, it sucks to not see everybody at full health. We saw Florida go through last year in the final, but it has turned. And the thing with the NHL, it's not like the NBA. It's not a finals MVP. Like the Conn Smythe is a playoff MVP. Playoff. Yeah. So, I mean, you got to look at the records McDavid's broken and stuff like that. But the thing is, I'm most excited to see if the Panthers win the next game. And with McDavid's personality, if they name him the Conn Smythe winner, what's he like? How awkward is that picture going to look like of him taking a picture with the Conn Smythe? It's going to look like him in the airport with those 2, the lady and her husband. Remember when they caught McDavid in the airport? He'd got that awkward picture there with him. I think it's going to be one of those kind of moments where, like a guy like him with so much pride, I don't think he'll want to win the Conn Smythe. He'll probably just leave it there. He probably won't even take a picture with it. I mean, that's the scene I'm looking forward to if he does win. I mean, he's a minus 150 favorite right now, but I mean, he's a betting favorite. So, I mean, unless Bobrovsky has 70 saves shutout next game.
If this is the sweep, we're not talking about McDavid. If this is 5 games, we're not talking about McDavid. It's already going to go to 6 again. So, yeah. Okay. Occupancy.
Yeah, no, I agree with pretty much what people were saying. I personally think that if Florida wins Game 6, I wouldn't give it to McDavid. If they extend to 7, regardless of who wins, I would give it to McDavid. I would currently give it to it's going to come down to if they get goalied or if someone scores a big goal. If Barkov scores a big goal, like a game winner, I could see Barkov going back in the first for the race. So it's a toss-up. It's a coin flip. I would give it even to Bobrovsky at plus 750 right now. If he goalies them on game 6, then he still play. He's had a couple duds, but letting in 4 or 5 goals doesn't really help your chances. But I would still worth a shot. And look, and then just on the on the Conn Smythe thing, I think it should go to probably Connor McDavid. If he has the most assists he broke the assist record, right? For the did he?
Yeah, it's not the points, but the assists, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he broke the overall. I don't think he broke the overall like playoff points record or anything, but I think he did break the assist record.
So give it to Connor if they could push to 7.
I mean, that's what I'd say. If Edmonton loses, Connor McDavid never gets back, but he wins a Conn Smythe. Like, he's cemented in the Hall of Fame as one of the greatest players ever. And then I think it takes a lot of pressure off. Not that I'm saying Connor McDavid's not going to win a Stanley Cup, but let's say, something happens, whatever. So, yeah, I mean, I still think Florida's going to win this series, guys. I just am not coming off that. Now, it goes to game 7. It's anybody's game, but, like, Edmonton starts the game with 2 shorthanded goals in a row. That's so fluky. It just never happens. And honestly, if you're Florida, just decline the power play because Edmonton's more dangerous on the PK than you are on the power play. But Mike, what do you think here on the Conn Smythe? You can give whoever McDavid gets it, whatever. I think we're all general consensus is no one's going to have a problem. I think any logical hockey fan at this point is, yeah, McDavid makes sense. And the people that have never watched hockey, 4.1 million, by the way, tuned into Game 5 here in the States. That was the rating, pretty huge.
So I have no faith in the losing team getting the Conn Smythe winner, just because how I think people do things today, unfortunately. But yeah, Bob or McDavid. I think Avi already said it in the chat.
You don't think Barkov? I think Barkov has probably got a better chance to get it now than Bob. I know Abby's saying Barkov hasn't done anything, but
running joke I've been saying with my friends is, oh man, they got Bobby tonight. I feel like Bobrovsky's stolen too many games. I truthfully don't think the Panthers are all that good. I think Bobrovsky is the man. At least he has been in the last couple of months. And, I don't think the Panthers suck. I think they're a good team, but I think Bobrovsky stood on his head, and I think that's
why I think if Barkov's not healthy, and now it looks like guys like Connor Brown are healthy, I feel like that depth advantage that Florida had is kind of null and void right now, and I think that's what we've seen in the last couple of games. I thought, from what I've been told, because again, I told you guys I didn't watch. Florida had played a pretty good game. 2 and 3 periods, 2 and 3, and we're not that the game where it was 8-1. Like, I saw some of that score, but like I didn't watch. But I was like, what was there to watch? I mean, Edmonton was kind of blowing them out. So it's just one of those games. We expected Edmonton to have that game, not the Florida Panthers. Honestly, I expected an 8-1 Florida win one of these days, just because how they can cheat and stuff. But it looks like they're doing good. So yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody would really begrudge the NHL and the voters, the PW, the professional hockey writers, the 14 people or whatever that get selected to vote on the Conn Smythe. I don't have a problem with McDavid winning. Okay, last topic of the night, and then we'll call it an evening. I don't know why I had this last, but the Philip Hronek deal got signed. Just give us your thoughts. We'll go around the corner, Pearlo. What were your thoughts on that one? 8-year contract. Thought it was a pretty fair deal. 8-year, $58 million, $7.25 million. What do you think?
That seems fair to me for that long. At the end of that deal, if he can keep up the pace that he is at right now, that's going to look like a pretty fair deal. It might be.
Yeah, 5 goals, 43 assists, 48 points, was a plus 33 in 81 games for the Canucks this year. Anyway, sorry, just wanted to get that out.
Yeah, his defensive analytics were really good. He played really well. I don't know if he's going to put up that offense all the time. I don't know. But at the end of that deal, 7 point some is not going to be much. It's going to be like a $3.5 million deal right now. So I think it's a fair deal. Really good deal for both parties. Certainly for Vancouver. I like it. It's a good deal.
Nice, Rico.
Yeah, I mean, playing this alongside Quinn Hughes definitely helped. But at the end of the day, Vancouver took care of their RFA, which you should always try and do. You know, he was their player. He's a type of guy, again, right-handed shot. Vancouver's been looking for one for a long time. I'll remember last time they've had a good right-handed shot D. He's a kind of guy that could kind of maybe drive his own line another year or two as well, too. Maybe find somebody to pair with Quinn Hughes on the first line and then slip Ronick into the second pairing as well. But apparently he loved it, Vancouver. He loved the city. He loved the team. So, I mean.
Yeah, I think they're going to compete for cups, guys. I think that Vancouver team is going to compete for cups. Like the West isn't super strong. They're a very good team. I do. Anyway, Teddy, you're laughing. Why don't you say what you think?
Because I have it in a bet slip. It's funny because plus, 20-1 essentially you're getting on Vancouver here. And look, I mean, this kid Ronick, I got to see him play. I was fortunate this year. They came into town and I picked up some tickets, and he's got a cannon. I've only seen a few people shoot that fast. Kaprizov, Brock Nelson. I mean, there's only a couple people I've seen live at least. I mean, this kid Ronick is he's gonna have. And didn't he have some crazy point streak too? Ronick, I think he had some like pretty good point streak. So either way, I like Vancouver in the offseason. I'd be interested to see what their price is to make the playoffs, or maybe they're under on their points. They're an interesting team. They fought really hard throughout the whole playoffs. A couple really big wins and a healthy Brock Besser and
Demko. I mean, Abby says Demko was out.
Yeah,
so they're going to beat the Oilers.
Listen, and you may even hedge out of it, but if they get at least to the Western Conference Finals, you can. Anyway, it's just strategy, but I'm impressed with the deal. I think they've got the people in the office made a gut decision, and they paid this guy a ton of money. And they've got to re-sign and get Besser healthy, get him to the right doctors wherever he's got to go, because they need him. They need everyone going like they were, early on in the playoffs when they were beating Nashville and stuff. Like they had everyone going at the right time, and Tocchet had these guys like locked in. I mean, they're a good team, so I'm interested to see kind of how they unfold.
Mute yourself, Pearlo, if you can. Just picking up your background is all. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm actually curious more towards the end of the season, simply because I mean, we all like the guy. They've got two guys from Harvard that are going to be seniors and graduating. I'll see Harvard going deep into the tournament. So I'll see them join the Canucks, towards the end, as we've seen with a lot of college players. So, during the season, I think it's going to be great. I'm super pumped for the last 10 games of the season to see how they pulls with these rookies, because I think they paired nicely in terms of speed and style of play. And they're from Harvard, so they get half a brain.
I mean, there's no shortage of guys who played at Harvard. I think Brian Boyle, that made it pretty big impacts in the NHL. Sorry, Mike.
No, it's sort of saying. So I think he's going to be a great fit for the Canucks throughout this season, but I'm a college hockey guy, so I'm looking forward to the last 10 games of the season when they pull in the two rookies and they get this, the 3-year deal, but one of them's 10 games.
Yeah.
I think these two rookies are going to pair nicely, and I think it's going to be weird putting two rookies on a line with him, but I think they have to, and I think it's going to click pretty quickly.
Yeah, as Avi's saying, he's talking about Tom Willander, which is going to be you. Obviously, Avi being a Boston guy and is familiar with all that stuff. I'm super excited. So instead of doing we can do final thoughts, or I could do story time with Uncle Jeremiah. You can hear about my stolen paddleboard and how I recovered it. So I'll just let you guys vote. Raise your hand if you want to do final thoughts on the screen. Raise your hand if you want to hear story time with Uncle Jeremiah. Okay, story time with Uncle Jeremiah wins. Perlo didn't vote. He abstained. Okay. All right. Story time with Uncle Jeremiah. Okay. So it's been insanely hot here. I admitted I didn't watch game 4. I didn't watch game 5. I've been out paddleboarding, blah, blah, blah. The lake's been nice. We got a dock. We're out there. We're having fun. We got our 5 dogs. People are like flocking. We had some friends over. it's summertime, man. I want to be outside. So I had just bought a paddleboard on the 28th of May. I bought a 12-foot boat specialty paddleboard, got a deal on it and had it shipped up from where they make it, Florida, I think. So there are no 12-foot boats sold here in Alaska. They have the same model at REI, but it's only 10 foot. So I wanted the 12 because I have 5 dogs and it's hard to balance a paddleboard with 5 little dogs running around. And I've gotten quite good at it with 3, but this year we've added 2 more. And Flynn we had last summer, so I had 4. 4 was doable, but 5 is almost a bridge too far now. So it's been a problem. Anyway, we were out paddleboarding Friday night, and we rack everything, we put everything up 10 o'clock, wake up the next morning, we go out. My board's been stolen from the rack off from the lake. Somebody went out on the lake and stole it. They stole 5 paddles. So they stole about $2,500 worth of stuff. So anyway, I do a police report right away. You got to do online, like AnchoragePolice.com. It really is that ridiculous. You go online, and I called non-emergency. They told me what to do. So instead of 911, we have like 311 here in Alaska, where it's not emergency, which is like, it's not an emergency. No one's dying. Yeah, I'm irritated. But anyway, my paddleboard gets stolen. So I drive around the next day looking in the neighborhood, just like I'm going to look. I'm going to see. It could be somebody close because it's a hard board. It's not an inflatable paddleboard. But an inflatable paddleboard, someone put it up, roll it up. I'll never see it again. I put it on Reddit. People are like, oh, this is the board. I found the board. No, that's not the board. It's inflatable. Facebook Marketplace, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, my wife and I are like heading to go get a paddleboard today because it's Juneteenth. She was off. She works at a job that gives you holidays off like that. So we cut through our neighborhood and we're driving on this street called Raspberry here in Anchorage. And as we're going, I'm like, there's my board. I see it on the top of someone's car that's parked in this apartment complex. So we flip a U-turn, go up. She calls the cops. I take the board off. We leave. I get my board back. Now, I didn't get my paddles, which, they took 2 or 3 paddles, and then they took a $300 paddle board. It's an older paddle that was with it because I left an older paddle down there, not the paddle that came with it. So I still have the paddle that came with that board. Normally, I put air tags in my gear, and then I can find where it is. It's not hard in Alaska because you ain't flying out. Again, you're not leaving with a hard paddleboard. You're not leaving with a 12-foot paddleboard. You have to have a rack to put it on or some way to secure it, this, that, or the other. You have any you sound like you have a question, Occupancy. No,
I'm just listening. I'm just listening.
Okay. So anyway, sorry. Story time with Uncle Jeremiah will end. Anyway, long and short of it is we called the cops, said, hey, we've recovered this stolen property, blah, blah, blah. But the cop comes and he has to grill me a little bit because well, what if this person says it was yours? Well, I said, look, I can prove it. I go, we called the company. Here's the serial number. It matches the model number that was sent to me. I go, you can't buy them in the stores. Here's my receipt for it. Here's a picture of it from the 20. I've got video of me on it. I'm kind of a quasi-celebrity out here because I got 5 little cute dogs on a paddleboard and I'm this bearded guy out there. People kind of like a chick. I've gotten to the point now where I'm just doing like the hang loose thing because people just take pictures of me and stuff. So I'm just like, I'm just trying to, and I'm nice to everybody, like on the thing. People ask me, blah, blah, blah. And I enjoy talking with people. So anyway, super glad we're heading to buy a new paddleboard. Well, we did buy one anyway. We bought a new paddleboard anyway. So I got another new paddleboard and I got my old one back. So now I have 4. So when people like you come to visit, we can all be out paddleboarding if you want. So that's the good news. Long and short of it, it was kind of a sucky story, but yeah, all day Saturday I was sulking, and then I won't lie, one of the reasons I didn't watch game 5 or whatever, I was just like really depressed about it, man. It kind of ruined my couple of days for me. I didn't want to get out of bed, and it's really kind of wrecked my day. But then I got it back today, and I was like super happy to do the show because like everything popped off. Like another reason it's fun to have the NHL season over with, and we really didn't even spend any time talking that much about the games, but we'll get back together possibly one more time before I'm off fishing for a while, and then there'll be a couple week break, guys. But I'd like to do every week, but when the weather's good, guys, it's like, I'll do some shorts on TikTok talking about things that happen and stuff. When I get back, we'll do like a post-draft show. So somewhere in July, I will probably wait for crappy weather, to be honest with you. So be patient with us. I really appreciate it. We have almost 40 people in here today between Instagram Live, 22 here on YouTube, 14 on X. I didn't even look at Twitch. Sometimes I'll pull Twitch up and we get 1 or 2 from Twitch. So usually they're pretty quiet, or it's a girl hitting on Pearlo, which is always fun to make the show good. But that was my story. Yeah, I just want to be outside in the summer, and I love talking hockey with everybody, and we're really trying to push this show. And when we get back into the season, I don't know that we're going to do 4 days, but we might do 3 or something, or 2, like Tuesdays, Thursdays. I really want to get as many of you guys on because, Mike, I want to talk a little. I want you and I to do a separate college hockey show maybe once a week. And then, Teddy, we don't know what is going to be happening with you in Switzerland, in Switzerland. So you may not be able to tune in. You might be working or something when we're on.
Bill, I'd love, because it'll be like 2 in the morning, I think, and I can break down the games with you guys like old times. I mean,
we want you on, dude. Just because you're leaving the country doesn't mean we don't want. And then, of course, Pearlo and Rico are mainstays. They'll be with me as long as they want to do it. And hopefully one day we'll actually make some money on this and I can give it back to you guys in some form, and whether it's merch sales or something. So, but working really hard. I'm looking to get credentialed. I just have to start writing stuff too to build a reason why. But I don't want to solely cover NHL because when I go to the Frozen Four, even though I can get tickets for not bad, and Mike, I think hopefully the rest of our lives we're watching the games together at the Frozen Four, and I'm right there sitting next to you. That'll be great. Hopefully we can get Rico and Pearlo there once too, because they would love it. I'm telling you, and I would pay for their tickets.
It's the best experience, guys.
The hockey tickets I'd pay for, guys. If you could make your way and you really wanted to go, like we could work something out. It's a great time, man. And everybody is so cool. It's not a large crowds either, but it's large groups. Like regardless, there's a BU contingent there, whether they're there or not. There was so many North Dakota fans at this Frozen Four. They weren't even there. Now they could have been, but it was a good time. So, all right, guys, I really appreciate you guys taking a Monday. I got to get back and eat some dinner, but we're not doing final thoughts because we got story time with Uncle Jeremiah. But we should be back next week. I don't want to give any dates because we'll just see how it goes. I plan the week to week, but also Pearlo, Rico, Mike, Teddy, they all got stuff they want to do in the summer too. So. Mike works like 3 jobs, so the fact that he has time to sleep is insane. So, so I appreciate all you guys. Thank you so much, Avi, Mike, some of the old school Hot Take Hockey guys were here. I really appreciate everybody coming out. We're working hard to get better and more professional. I've got some surprises for next season. But we may have a big-time guest in the summer. I think I can convince a couple of guys to come on now that the hockey season is over. I definitely want to talk some Toronto Maple Leafs. This Mitch Marner thing is so intriguing to me. So the next time we talk, we'll definitely have a Stanley Cup champion and some draft stuff. So it'll be cool times. It'll be good times. So appreciate everybody. Have a good one.